Xavier, I'm wondering, as you get close through 2 scrimmages and late in camp, how much you have a sense of who you guys are as a team right now, what you'd be able to do, having been around the program, having been in this situation this close to a season. Do you have a sense of what you are and what you can be?
Yeah, I think so a little bit. Definitely towards the second scrimmage, you know what I mean? You get a feel for, people kind of get a feel for the depth a little bit. You get a feel for where you're strong at, where we need areas of improvement. You get a feel for, you know, I mean, me as a leader, I've been really just trying to make sure, you know, we're doing what we need to be doing effort-wise, and then so I'm gonna take that up with the defense as a whole, and then when it comes to my position group, the defensive backs, I'm all the dudes that need help with technique and little things, fundamentals, need extra work like the younger players. I'm trying to help them with that, but we're getting to the point where, you know, the bus is leaving, you know what I mean? So for some of the younger guys that don't have it, people know the scout team's about to come out. But really, I think that first game is kind of really when you get a feel for what this defense can be. So I'm excited because I know we have some potential.
Xavier Mells said he thought there was a different feeling from you guys at this point than there was last year, just you know, experience-wise and leadership-wise. I guess could you
definitely?
I guess what's your reaction and kind of just take on that?
Yeah, I'd say I agree. I just think we're just a lot farther along right now than where we were last year. We're not really coaching the little things like effort, like what I was talking about. The coaches aren't talking about effort anymore because us as the players, we are, you know, holding each other accountable with things, little things like effort. That's just what we need to do. And then little things that we're getting used to now with Coach Hazelton's defense. He doesn't have to talk about it every day because we know what the assignment is and when he calls the type of plays, like why he's calling them. So I just think we're a lot farther along now at this time than we were last year. Just getting used to the scheme and like we talked about, Coach Tucker probably said it. Just players being accountable. Like we got younger dudes, like Justin White, who didn't really play a ton last year. I mean, he's been hustling his butt off all camp, and like when he sees we watching film and like his position isn't running how he's running, he's like, hey, that's like you need to do better than that, you know. So that just comes from Coach Tucker trying to make this a player-led team, and you can see it happening.
Coach Tucker talked about some position changes, Davion and Hamp moving to the defensive backfield. I was just wondering what you've seen from them and if you were impressed at all. Yeah,
well, Hamp has been doing like, I remember earlier in the summer they moved him like, because usually QBs don't do any like special teams work or this and that, and they moved Hamp pretty early to do some special teams work. And he was kind of get tossed around a little bit, but like I could tell he was working hard. He wanted to do good at it. So I would go over there and be like, hey, you got it, because he's a tall dude. But he wasn't afraid to run and hit, and that's the main thing. So I'm still seeing that from Hamp. It's just little things on defense, just pad level. And he's a quarterback, so he's obviously a smart kid. So he came in like, I'm trying to tell him the coverages. He's like, oh, yeah, this is when you guys run this and that, because he knows it from when he's playing quarterback. And Davion's just an athletic kid, really raw at cornerback right now, but he does some good things, honestly, and playing here for so long, I've seen in the past, freaking Justin Lane was playing wide out half the year, his freshman year, and was a 3rd-round draft pick. I'm pretty sure Coach D used to love moving everybody around. So I just tell dudes when they get moved around, it's an opportunity, and to not look at it as anything but an opportunity and control what you can control.
Coach was in here I was asking about Brandon Jordan, what kind of results he's seeing from him being here as long as he has now. Yeah. He said he was working with you guys too. I mean, it's not just the ends that are getting some of this coaching from him. How much have you even personally gotten from him?
we just started kind of, I should have been going to him really all summer long. I wish I would have done more with him, but he's been with us, like we did some with him today in what we call a teach period, and we got some work with him. And it's just really, and Jacob Slade kind of explained it to me, it's really simple things that he's explaining and just not wasting any movement, stuff like that. And I see it translating a lot, especially with the DNs and the linebackers. Darius Snow does a really good job of just using your hands and staying low and bending the edge. Jacoby Windman does a really good job. And not only does it translate to defense, but I mean, I watched Darius go in on like punt block and like swim, like use the pass rush move and swim and try to block a punt, you know what I mean? So not only does it help for defense, but it's like kind of a general football knowledge that he's teaching, and I can see it paying off actually a pretty good amount.
Xavier, what do you notice on the offense? I mean, you obviously had a good feel for last year's offense. For this offense, how is it different? Any particular parts that are, or players that are standing out and catching your eye?
I think Peyton's just taking it to another level. I think I might have saw Coach Johnson say that somewhere, and I didn't think about it until he said it. He's just quicker right now than he was last year. He's playing really smart. And he's playing, Peyton has all the confidence in the world. We saw that last year. And he's not afraid to take his shots. I think him and Keon have been having a really good connection, and I knew that was going to happen because every time Peyton's in here, Keon's in there trying to catch the balls, get some routes in, work on timing and whatnot. But Peyton's he's taking that next step because he wants to be one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the country, obviously. I think he can be. And we got some other guys. I think our tight end room's really good. It's a deep room, so I'm excited about that, especially with Keon and Jaden on the outside. Jeremy Bernard looks good. He looks way more far along than a true freshman should. He's not. Tyrell Henry is a kid that looks pretty good. He's got some quick twitch and some speed on top of it. Really, that whole freshman class, all those kids. I mean. They need to get in their playbook, but at the end of the day, that's going to be a good class when they're done. And I know the O-line is getting better every day. So I think we're going to go as far as the offensive line takes us. And we got some leaders, Spencer Brown and JD are really trying to bring those guys along. So I'm excited.
Xavier, when you think about this offseason, I got you back here. Yeah.
Thank you.
When you think about this offseason, as you see more of the award watch lists come in one after another, and all Big Ten preseason watch lists, obviously it's a lot of attention, but does that put any pressure on you, or is it just, it's about time?
Yeah. A little bit, but I don't know about pressure. It's exciting. I try not to think about it too much. I remember my dad sent me he screenshotted the Michigan State Post, and they listed all the things and he said, no matter what happens, I'm proud of you, just for being here. And I mean, it means a lot, but at the end of the day, I just look at it and say, why can't I I'm on the list, why can't I? So not really pressure, but just opportunity, like I was saying about changing positions. It's just an opportunity for me. And a lot of those watch lists, sometimes you get guys that play better but weren't on the watch list the year before, so a dude that was on the watch list, I've seen that happen before. So like a dude will have a really good year but people didn't expect him to, and he wasn't on the watch list, and a guy that had a decent year but was expected to be up there he was already on the watch list, they might win it. So the awards, I really don't think about them too much, but it's exciting. Like my dad saying that to me, it gives me a feeling like I've done a little something, but now I want to finish it off, and why can't I go win those awards?
You were also mentioning the work that you've been able to get with BT, but also with Mel working with the secondary a lot more this year. How has that changed? How has that improved? And what have you seen from him working with you guys so closely?
Really, the main thing is on top of him being an NFL, coach and sending dudes to the NFL, having great secondary at places like Georgia and Bama. It's really the head coach is in your position group. He's watching the film with you. He's yelling at everybody. It gives people a sense of urgency to get better. Just by him being the head coach and spending that much time with us. it just gives the younger dudes a sense of urgency. It gives me a sense of urgency to I don't want to screw up. I don't want to be on tape when coach is watching the corners. He'll be like, who's that at safety? Who's doing, and I don't want to be the guy he's yelling at. And it feels good when he's in there and he tells you you're doing a good job. He doesn't say it too often, but he does. He will tell the dude when he's doing a good job. And it just feels good knowing who he's coached, how many players he's had. And then, so on top of the sense of urgency, just knowing how much he knows. Sometimes he'll be talking about the oldest school, like, details, and like, he'll use, like, what we call, like, Saban terms and things he's heard from Nick Saban, and he'll say it, we have no idea what he's talking about, and then he'll leave, and Coach Barnett will kind of translate it for us. He'll be like, this is what he meant by that. And I was like, oh, okay. But it just shows you how much he cares for the amount of time he spends in there with us. He wants us to be great, really.
Could you share one of those Saban things?
Yeah, he was saying, so basically he was, well, his favorite thing to say is, like, when somebody, he'll be like, oh, F me, man, F me. But he won't say F, and it's just the funniest thing when we're just, it's so quiet in there, and you can see somebody on film kind of get messed up, F me, man, F me. But, like, he'll say something, like, he was talking about cover 2, and it was basically just like a schematical thing about if the safety sees a run block, the corner really should set the edge, and the safety should be screaming downhill and fill in the gap. And we hadn't really heard it explained the way he explained it. And Coach Barnett, when he left, he was like, that's what people used to talk, like old school, like 1990s Steelers defense created, like they were running Tampa 2, like real old school stuff that we've never even heard of. And Coach B had to translate it for us and tell us what he was really even talking about.
I was curious, you talked about scheme and knowing it better. Mm-hmm. Where have you seen the biggest growth on the D?
Yeah, I think the communication, honestly, the confidence with the linebackers are what we call the law. So they're making the calls, they're giving the calls, and the law means they're loud and wrong. So usually they're not wrong, we don't want them to be wrong, but if we're all playing the same thing, we'll survive the down and we'll play another down. But they're not being wrong, and if they are wrong, everyone on the defense knows, like, I'll be like, hey, it should be closed this way, this and that. If I have time to say it to him, if not, I'll just play it like he called it, and we'll run it like that. But the communication altogether, like just the other day, we were playing quarters coverage, and in the quarters, usually the strong safety is responsible for the over. So Angelo looks at me, I'm playing strong safety, I'm away. He's like, hey, X, this guy's tight, alert the over. And that's something he hasn't done before, so I'm reading, I'm like, okay, pass, and then I'm already ready for the over, and he's talking during the play. He's like, over. So I just got my job's easy. I had a PBU all because of Angelo talking to me pre-snap and after the snap. So just little things. We got Amir and Ron out there at corner who are older, experienced, smart guys. So they're telling me things, I'm telling them things, and I like seeing Darius in front of me a lot because I know he's smart, and sometimes Darius talks a little too much. He's saying to me, he thinks Darius is a know-it-all, that's our little thing, and Darius knows everything. So he's out there saying too much. I'm like, all right, Darius, shut up talking to me. I'm trying to focus now. But I like playing with smart football players. It's fun, and I think that's where we've gotten better, just talking to each other and how we communicate. Sometimes younger dudes don't realize, like, yo, when you're trying to tell, like, somebody, you have to know who you're alerting the over to. So you can't just say, hey, alert over. You got to say, hey, like, Brule, Aaron, watch this over, because he's the weak hook and our 3 deep, and he's got to take it. So just little things like that, honestly.
Anything else? Good?
Thank y'all. Yeah, have a good one.